Elon Musk and retirement. Rob, what page is that on? There it is, 14. Elon Musk says you can skip retirement savings in the age of AI. Not so fast. Okay, this is a Fox News story. Let's see how this story goes. Rob, if you want to play the clip first, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, one side recommendation I have is don't worry about squirreling money away for retirement in 10 or 20 years. It won't matter.
No.
Okay.
Either we're not going to be here, or
Yeah, I don't know. Can you expand on that a little bit?
You won't need to save for retirement. If any of the things that we've said are true, saving for retirement will be irrelevant.
the services will be there to support you. You'll have the home, you'll have the healthcare, you'll have the entertainment.
The way this unfolds is fundamentally impossible to predict because of self-improvement of the AI and the accelerating timeline.
Yeah, it's called
Any
singularity
solution-
for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what goes happen. What happens after the event horizon? You know?
Exactly. You can never see past the black hole or the event horizon, the light cone.
I mean, Ray has the singularity out way too far. I mean, this is like the next, what's your timeline for this?
We're in the singularity.
Well, we are in the singularity, for sure.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of it right now, for sure.
Yeah.
And it would just
Well,
feels
we're in
flat.
this beautiful sweet spot, which is, the
We're the roller coasters. We're just
yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy. It's just like that feeling.
you're at the top of the roller coaster and you're about to go.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of G's when you
a lot of
when you
Gs.
hit it.
Yeah. It's like people I don't have to just have courtside seats. I'm on the court.
Exactly.
And it still blows my mind. Sometimes multiple times a week.
Yeah.
So
You can pause it right
just when
there.
I think,
Jeff, your thoughts. Do you agree?
This is insane. He just said, look, we can't predict how this is going to go. So the next thing he says, or the thing before that is, don't save for retirement. We have no idea how this is going to look on the other side. So just say, screw it. The hell with it. Just trust us that this is going to go well and you're going to be taken care of.
Is that how you process it, that he's saying trust us, that we'll figure it out?
He's saying, trust us. This is all going to work the way we want it to work and that you won't need to save for retirement. And then he also says, we don't know how the hell it's going to work out. I mean, to me, this is completely insane.
Pop.
Brandon, you go first, and then I got a lot of thoughts on this.
Okay, go
Let
ahead,
me hear
Brandon.
what he says first.
Yeah, no, it's super reckless. I mean, I'm curious, how many times has Elon Musk been wrong? I know there's been a lot of them, but I mean, to put
That's worth $800 billion.
I know, but still, he's been wrong. He's made crazy predictions that he's been wrong about, with timelines and everything. But look at the stakes that if he is wrong, I mean, people already don't save for retirement. So how many people are going to be influenced by that and say oh yeah, screw it, I'm going to be able to have UBI in the future, so I'm not going to save for retirement. And then what if he's wrong? So
Okay,
it's
Pop,
super reckless.
Where are you at?
So I'm literally building a company around this because I think that this is the single most important thing that the everyday American has to understand is happening right now. There is a arms race that is about to occur, which is there is artificial intelligence that is being built at hyper speed. And that artificial intelligence is being able to automate away tasks and eventually jobs at a very, very fast rate. Now, let me give you a couple of examples. How many software engineers now aren't writing code, they're just letting AI do it? I am invested in a lot of these companies. 50+% of the code being written inside these companies is written by AI. Now, there is Claude Cowork. So now it can go and do a bunch of tasks that an entry-level employee could do. You're now starting to even see Elon in that same interview, he did an interview with the Cheeky Pint with Dwarkesh and one of the Carlson brothers. He kept saying, we think that Grok has a way to learn faster than all the other models, and he wouldn't say why. And so I started thinking about, because he kept mentioning Tesla, the Tesla model. And so I said, oh my God, he is basically going to have people just record their computer screen while they work, and they're going to use the machine learning to figure out how to do what you do. And so I tweeted that. Elon responded. I didn't tag him or anything. He responded. He said, pretty much. And so what's going to happen here is artificial intelligence is going to go put a bunch of people out of work. What I believe is the arms race is we have to race to harness artificial intelligence to make you money. Because basically what's going to happen here is if we do not harness the ability for artificial intelligence to make people money, in terms of you have capital, you give it to the artificial intelligence, it goes into the market, it makes you money. What is going to happen is you're going to be out of work, you're not going to have any capital, and you're going to not have a path because the machines can do a better job at anything that you do. And so the first thing that we did is we built this product called CFO Sylvia, which basically you come in, you load all of your different accounts, you put your bank account, your crypto, your brokerage, all that stuff in there, and then you can start to talk to the AI and ask it simple questions. How to get my tax rate down? what should I do if I want to have this net worth in 5 years or 10 years? You can also ask it like, how does this current event go ahead and impact my current portfolio? And the beauty of this is if you ask a ChatGPT or Anthropic or any of these other guys, it'll give you very basic answers. Here's what people do to get their tax rate down. What this does is it tells you to your specific situation, asset by asset, what to do. And what's interesting about this is we start to get feedback from these users. What are these users saying? I trust the AI more than I trust a human person. I tell the AI more things than I would normally tell you. I ask questions I wouldn't ask a human because the human will judge me, but I can ask these questions here. And so what you start to realize is people are going to put all of their information and context into these systems, and they're basically going to say, help me. And CFO Sylvia is doing it on the finance side. But what we start to see now is, okay, if there is an arms race occurring, what you're going to see is you're going to see finance get automated. Because ultimately, if you're an average person and you're saying, I'll go to work every single day and I might lose my job in the future, what do? I'm going to have to use this technology to get ahead, or it's going to put me out of business. And so that is the arms race.
Do you agree with them, though? Do you agree with them that retirement's not something that's important today?
I think that, one, you should always have some sort of safety net, right? What I think that he's basically saying here, though, is he's actually not saying don't have retirement. What I think he's saying is humans are not going to drive their retirement. It is going to be all this other stuff. So what the future I envision is you're going to eventually take your money and you're just going to give it to the AI, and the AI is going to make sure that you have monthly income, that you've got retirement money, et cetera. Now, there's a gap between where we are with the technology and where that eventually will be. But you see this, like people are passively investing in indexes. You see them constantly looking for, there's all these AI bots and stuff that are now trying to figure out how to use the technology in the financial markets. High frequency trading. Hedge funds have been doing this for a long time. So my view of this is he's right that you are not going to be trading your time for money in the future in the way that we've thought about that over time. But he's wrong in that you're still going to need money, and so you need some sort of retirement.
That's interesting. So
how does that? I mean, again, how does that work for, say, a plumber?
Well, the whole idea is that look, if I said to you right now, what can robots do? Most people will say electricians are safe, plumbers are safe, etc. Okay, but if I went back 5 years ago and I said, do you think that robots are going to build homes? You would tell me I'm crazy. I've seen multiple videos online. Now, the homes don't look the same, but they're 3D printed. They've got these cement automation, all this kind of stuff. And so as we rapidly get here, I think one of the aspects of all this AI stuff and robotics that to me is, frankly, it breaks my mind, right? Because it's scary and exciting at the same time, is this idea of exponential production. So if the humanoid robots can start producing more humanoid robots, then what is going to be that future look like? Now, the one thing I will say is I actually think that the last human moat that exists is right here. This is the last human moat. There is not a thing in your brain that is a moat compared to software. Software is going to be able to do everything that you mentally can do. But this, your 5 fingers in your hand, the dexterity, the mobility of your hand.
What is going to be the value of knowledge? What is going to be the value of knowledge? What is going to be the value of somebody who is got a great memory and knows a lot of facts? Like, what is going to be useless? Something that we admire, that in 10 years we're going to say, yeah, so what? You're so smart. You have all that information. I can take Johnny off the street. He's a homeless guy. Put a $2.2 million latest chip model from NVIDIA that's this, and he's going to have access to every single book ever written, every fact in his brain. He's going to have every information there. Now it's about, let's see how good of a processor it is. What do we value today that because of AI we will not in 10, 20 years?
Creativity.
You think creativity?
Creativity, the ability to go beyond what we have today.
So you think in 20 years we won't value creativity?
No, I think we will value more creativity.
How about the know-how you were not going to? Know-how, knowledge, facts,
know-how,
memorization.
Like you said, you can replicate a lot of, because those are more mechanical processes. It's about the ability to go beyond where we have today. That's what human ingenuity has been since we were.
I agree. There's 5 things we score at the company. Every quarter we do our calibration, and it's based on 5 things. EATIR. E is effort, A is attitude, T is teamwork, I is innovation, and then R is results. 3 weeks ago, we're doing our calibration meeting, and all the managers coming in, they're scoring everybody. And then one of our guys, Mario, scores someone a 7 on innovation and gives these other 2 guys a 1. And I said, why did you give this guy 7 and these 2 other 1? He says, well, because of this, this, and that. I said, okay, great. I said, but why this guy 7? Because of this. And then he pauses, says, look, Pat, not going to lie to you. I don't even know how to score for innovation. I said, that's fair. A lot of other people probably feel the same
That was
way.
the right answer.
So we have to figure out how to quantify on how to score innovation. And we did, by the way. And here's what our system was. 4-step process that we wrote out on the board. Number 1 was, how creative is this person? Which goes back to what you just talked about. That's the number 1 element of creativity to us. Number 2 was, does this person ask critical thinking questions all the time? We're sitting in a room and say, why do we have that over there? Should we move this prompt over here? On the website, should we move the CTA here? The video that we did, I don't know if I like the way it starts the first 3 seconds. Maybe we move the intro of this clip to second 48 and then move that one to first 3 seconds. So that is the critical thinking. So you got creativity, critical thinking. Number 3 is actually always thinking about how we can improve everything. And then last but not least is implementation, because you can have all the first 3 and you don't implement them, means nothing. I agree with you. To me, the way you're presenting it, Pomp, is this is how I see it. Today you go to a Morgan Stanley guy or Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan Chase guy. I have $10 million. How should we invest? Well, let's go small cap. You know, what's your risk tolerance, time horizon, all this other stuff. All right, we're going to buy some this, we're going to buy some this, we're going to buy some that. Let's put some cash, let's put some this. Your age is 50 years old, so 50 minus 100. Let's go 50 equities, 50 bonds, 50. Okay, great, no problem. You're saying in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years, that person's going to have, I got $10 million. You give to the AI, and AI will say, how aggressive do you want me to go find work to create a business? Are you willing to risk that this could not work? And my brains of my engineers or the AI is going to go build this company. Okay, it's going to go do this for us. Is that kind of how you're processing it?
I'm saying 2 things. One is today, the AI will give you information that no human is able to do at the speed and the cost.
I'm not saying information, so I know about Claude. I'm talking about.
But you need the information first, and you need people to get used to getting the information.
Where I'm going to is to kind of go back,
and then you give
on what
them the money.
Elon is saying. What are we going to get to a point that it's purely about? Here's the engines for AI. I give you 10 million. Go start something. Go
100.
build something. Go market something, and I do nothing. Then I take that 10 million, and now it's like 88 million. Go do something.
So
do you think is that how it's
there's
going
2
to be?
things that are happening right now. This is not like a, hey, is it going to happen in the future? The first thing is there's a bunch of experiments that people have where they're basically saying, let me give $10,000, $20,000 to this AI, go into the market and make me money, whether it's a crypto market, stock market, whatever, right? So that to me is not very different than high frequency trading now with better technology. But that is definitely happening. The second thing that I find really interesting is there's been a couple of these demos that have now gone viral online where people will say to the AI, create me a business that makes X dollars per week, per month, per year. Come back when you're done. And the AI will go and it'll say, okay, well, if I need to make $100,000 a month, what industry should I go into? Let me go look at the TAMs of all these industries. Where is there, a lot of competition that I could go and undercut cost? Like it does, all kind of like a business analysis. Then it says, okay, well, if I need to be in that industry, what product should I serve or what service, right? What could I create? Okay, let's create a website. Let's get a URL. And it starts doing all this stuff. And these people are running these experiments, and what they're essentially doing is they're giving the AI, right? That right now, one of the biggest stories about Apple is that they are actually selling out of the Mac Minis, these small computers, because people are buying them hand over fist, and they are basically setting them up, and they're putting an AI on it, giving it full control of the computer, and saying, I'm going to give you a phone number, I'm going to give you an email address, I'm going to log you into all these accounts, go. And so I always go to and I say, right now, if we look back 3 years, most of this stuff didn't exist. Right? ChatGPT, AI agents, all this is all brand new. This is the worst the technology is ever going to be. And so there's a huge gap right now between how the technology works and how people know how to leverage it. I don't know if you guys saw recently, there was this huge breakthrough in science where these very sophisticated scientists came out and they said, look, 12 months ago, we didn't know how to use this technology. Now we actually know what questions to ask the technology. And so we've started to solve really hard problems because we got better at using the tool, right? It's like somebody who doesn't know how to use a shovel, all of a sudden learns how to use the shovel. So one thing that we've got for your audience is anyone who wants, anyone who signs up for CFO Sylvia next 24 hours, we're going to send them 100 prompts that I use on a periodic basis to better use AI to manage my finances. And what you'll see in these prompts is you can start to do things that you don't even know to ask. So like some of the popular stuff, what do rich people do to save money on their taxes? How should I take some of those ideas and implement them in my portfolio? All of a sudden, there's a bunch of stuff you just don't even know to ask. You don't know to Google this stuff. And when you go to whether it's an advisor, a friend, an assistant, whatever, and you say, hey, what are the things that I should be thinking about? They are limited by human knowledge. And so this is going to get applied to every single sector. And that's why you see insurance companies saying we're going to charge less for premiums because software is better at driving, right? All the way through the economy.
Yeah, and I love that. But also at the same time, I'm going to, what is your meeting with your investment banker or financial advisor going to look like every quarter?
You're not going to have that.
Or that's what I'm saying. If it's going to go, I don't know if you're not going to fully have.
No, they're
one.
going to get automated away. They 100% are going to get automated away.
I think there will still be a role for the creative side and the advice side.
But I think maybe this is something I disagree with Jeff on is, and I like talking to Jeff because he makes me think much more critically about this stuff. But I actually would argue that if I said to somebody, hey, you need to be creative about whatever art or prompting or whatever, if you simply ask the AI, come up with 20 prompts that I should ask about some topic, or write me a prompt.
Do you
to
think in
create
20
a
years
piece of
we'll
art.
have a president?
Well,
Do you think we
it
will
begs
have
the
a
question
U.S.
of
president?
it begs the
But you're
question
just
of
talking about
what is the
using-
role of the president?
But think about it. What is the role of a financial advisor? What is the role of a doctor? What is the role of any of these jobs,
Fed
right?
chairman.
But do you think in 20 years we'll have a president?
Yes, because I don't think that that job has a verifiable end state, whereas I do think that a financial advisor, a lawyer, et cetera, those are verifiable end states, and most of it. Now, a lawyer still has to go to court and argue and all this stuff, but like we get to a weird place
Do
where
we have automated courts?
so that I was going
Have
to
you guys
say
seen
is
that
that
recent movie that just came out with Chris
Yeah.
Pratt? Did you see the movie with Chris Pratt?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, can you pull up this movie with? By the way,
but like that's a good question. Do you think we'll have automated judges?
Well,
No.
but
No.
here's
Okay,
what I
explain
want.
why.
I think we have to define what AI we think AI is going to do. To me, it's more like a human-robot partnership. How can we make human beings more creative?
Augment the human.
Augment the human. And so you don't eliminate necessarily the role of the human. Maybe you eliminate some of the roles that humans used to do.
Jeff, do you know what
which-
this movie's about?
No.
Let me tell you what this movie's about. Okay, this movie is about Chris Pratt, who's an agent. He's a detective. He gets accused of killing his own wife. Okay, he wakes up. He's sitting in a chair, handcuffs, shackles. He has 90 minutes where he's sitting in front of this judge called Mercy to make the argument why he is not guilty. If he doesn't, he's gone. If he does make the argument, he's free. And the most so the judge is an AI. You have to watch this movie, by the way. You have to watch this movie. You know how the movie ends? The movie, I'm not going to tell you what ends up happening, but I'll tell you one special line that he says at the end that's scary as hell. He says, I guess what we learned is just like human beings can make mistakes, so can AI.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
about the judge when you see this.
There's also that's the thing. There's also a survival instinct in human beings. We're not just going to go passively be eliminated by AI. I think human beings. This is where the creativity comes in. The most creative humans are going to figure out how to partner with AI to stay on top of the game.
I go back to is there a verifiable end state of the judge? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, it'll be automated. Like
If we have a lazy population that says,
well,
you know,
Where's this
I would
data
argue
coming
that
from,
it-
though?
It may be better. Does a judge in the current judicial process end up helping or hurting humans when you add in bias, error, etc.? There's a huge debate that we could have in terms
what-
of the role of the
but
judge.
aren't you just replacing human bias with AI bias?
Well, so let me give you a good example. Is there's a study that shows if you are up for parole, you know the worst time to go in front of the parole judge? Right before lunch. So they looked at throughout the
'Cause
time
they
of
wanna
day
get to lunch.
because
They're
people want to
just
get to lunch.
like,
It's crazy. Look it up. There's a crazy study that shows if you go in front of
You're flirting with something very dangerous.
No,
Bob.
so that's the thing. I think
You're flirting with something. Let me explain to you why you're
look
flirting.
at this the hungry judge effect.
I get that, but you're flirting with something very
But,
dangerous.
but
I
are you
mean,
going to replace it with a worse bias from AI?
well,
That's the question.
the question becomes
We cannot
how
assume
much,
that AI has no biases.
how much of the law should include empathy versus fact? And I don't have a good answer.
So you're going to
for
put that into some
Right?
coder's hands to code empathy.
But you know what you're flirting with.
I mean,
let me tell you what
there's
you're
no
flirting
easy
with.
answer here.
this.
Let's be
There's
honest.
definitely no
So-
easy answer,
but-
right?
but
But this
no,
is
you're
crazy.
You're right. This is the conversation that people should have because you're right. The legal system, let's face it, it can be improved. Definitely be improved. But this is where I think the creativity comes in. You give the tools to the judge or lawyers, whatever.
Jeff,
so that
question.
It's a partnership with
You're
AI.
flirting. You're flirting with.
We got him now.
And but I'm gonna.
Well, no,
but I'm gonna tell
you've
you.
hit a nerve. You've
I'm going to
hit
tell
something
you
big
why,
here.
though. I'm going to tell you why, because where you're going, if you fully go there, You know how there's what different parties do we have right now? We have the Republican Party, Democratic Party, Independent Party, communism, socialism,
AI
capitalism,
party.
whatever you want to call it, right? It is going to be human and the AI party. That's what it's going to come down to. And if you go there, guess what? They're going to win. If it's going to be those two together where you put them as the superior, they're going to win. Why? The instinct inside of you, whether we know it or not, we're super competitive. All of
100%.
us. We're sizing each other up 24/7. The most noble person in the world, Mother Teresa, she's a psycho competitor. Do you understand what I'm saying? Pastors are psycho competitors. Yeah. Joel Osteen, Billy Graham, it's in here. You can't get rid of it. It's in our gene. Okay. So then when it gets to a point and in your mind, you realize you can get AI on your side, then you see a couple different people, barrier to entry. What do you now have? It's about elimination of competition. Then what takes place? Now we're not banking on human team. Now we're banking on purely wealth and finance. And by the way, that's an empty place to be. Sergey Brin did an interview recently. I don't know if you saw this or not. And he's talking about what happened when he retired during COVID and how it was the biggest mistake of his life. This is a guy that's worth a couple $100 billion that just bought a $174 million house, I think, in Miami. Rob, can you play this clip, please? Go for it.
Retired a month before COVID hit. And it was like the worst decision. I had this vision that I was going to sit in cafes and study physics, which was my passion at the time. And that didn't work because there were no more cafes. I was just kind of stewing and kind of felt myself spiraling, kind of not being sharp. And then I was like, I got to get back to the office.
We're 260 today.
Time was close. But, after a number of months, we started to have some folks going to the office, and I started to do that occasionally, and then started spending more and more time on what later became called Gemini, which is super exciting. And to be able to have that technical, creative output, I think that's very rewarding, as opposed to if I'd stayed retired. I think that would have been a big mistake. So I actually retired.
Just the way he speaks, does he sound motivational to you? Does he sound inspired to you?
Sad.
I used to see this all the time when I used to manage money for people. I used to tell them when they get closer to retirement age,
that's why you guys are fighting, because he wants to get rid of you.
So don't retire, because what you would see is that people who retire, completely commit to retirement, they were dead within a couple of years.
You know what is the dirty truth of this whole AI thing? I have a lot of friends that run a lot of companies. Right now, two things are true. They have never worked as hard as they are working right now because they see there is an arms race and they want to win. To your point, that competition,
it's so true.
If you control the machines, if you control the intelligence. All right, that's the first thing. The second thing, their day-to-day life at work is harder than it has ever been. Not only is there the speed of the innovation and everything, they can't keep up, but AI is taking away all the easy tasks.
Yeah.
So the only thing that are left are all the hard tasks now. So they've got to spend, in terms of density of hard tasks in a day is actually going up. And so it's this weird dynamic of you're promised an economic or societal utopia and abundance, but actually the lives of the people who understand what's happening here, they're working harder and they're spending more of their day on the hard problems, which I actually think is leading to many of them not being as happy.
Yeah, so when I see something like this and I see a guy having $266 billion, you know what he can buy? He doesn't just buy that $16.4 million card. He buys the entire company. He buys the entire brand. He can buy fanatics. He can buy industries. He can buy leagues if he wants to. That's the kind of money that he has.
Because he's a creative guy.
Yeah,
he has to have the creative outlet.
But there is a problem, though. There is a problem. This video here, I made this video a couple days ago, and I had my son record me. And it says the only noise that scares parents. Okay, Rob, go ahead and play it.
Yep.
What is the only noise that scares
Silence.
parents? Silence.
I
By
knew
the way,
what it was before even.
But check this out. Do you know what the point is with what we're talking about right now with AI? Here's the point. Check this out. What happens if all of a sudden this race goes so quickly and then we replace everybody? What happens when a bunch of people have a lot of time on their hands? The last time I had a lot of time on my hands, my hair was orange. Okay? And just letting you know, last time I had a lot of time on my hands. It is so important for everybody to have a job and do something. Even if everything gets automated, I don't want to stay home all day. Even if we have half the population staying home doing nothing, that is a horrible society. Horrible society. We have to have purpose. We have to be going after something. So to me, the only thing is, the question becomes, if you allow AI to run with no regulation, if you allow it to, is this something that you want to highly deregulate? Do you want to leave it open to let it go? And typically, as a capitalist, you want deregulation. You don't want regulation. You want it to go. But at what level? Will it be at a level of replacing human beings? Will it be at the level of replacing what people are doing? Like right now, how long ago do you think the NFL could have changed referees and done 100% AI? They could have done it 5 years ago. How come they don't do it? Do you want?
Well, they are doing
They
it.
are, but do you want it to be 100% getting rid of the referee?
So that's the thing is,
I don't know about that, because then guess what happens? First is the referee, then the first team announces an AI head coach. We don't want a head coach. We want an AI head coach. That's a job. Then it goes to, listen, XYZ company just built a running back, and the NFL has agreed that each team can have 3 AI robot players. Now you got a robot player that I paid $88 million and sponsorship. So that's this Anthropic quarterback. This one has the OpenAI quarterback. This one has. The game changes in a very big way if we go too much there. Go ahead. Final thoughts
the
before we move on.
NFL is interesting because they're trying to figure out, did the ball cross the plane or not, replay, all that stuff, right? I think as Jeff said it earlier, is like this idea of human error is also an important point. So like baseball is actually the better example to me, where there's a strike zone. When you watch a baseball game, they tell you whether it was in the strike zone or not. But there's still an umpire, and the umpire still makes balls or strikes.
I love that.
Yeah,
Partnership.
and so
human robot partnership.
yeah, and so I do think that there is this transition period where people are trying to figure this out. The last thing I'll say about this whole thing though is my number one piece of advice for people is to start using the technology, because the one thing that I know for sure is you are going to get left behind if you use none of it. Now, how extreme is the impact is up for debate. But if you are not using this technology on a day-to-day basis, you are going to fall behind. And so you can start, replace some of your Google searches with using AI, use it at work, right? You can start slow, but if you are not using this stuff, you're going to be left behind.
Yep. That part I don't disagree. But it's very important to realize. By the way, we played a clip the other day in 2022, October 17th, when I said Dow's going to go to 50,000 by 2026.
You nailed it.
I nailed it, but I'm telling you, very soon this whole political party concept could go away, and it could be human versus AI, and that could be 20 years away.
But you know what's funny is like if you look at how Trump won in 2016, there's now a bunch of like information that's come out where basically they were selling the red hats and they were using that to get the data to then put into the lookalike audience on Facebook, and they were using the Facebook advertising. Like that wasn't quote unquote artificial intelligence, but that lookalike audience technology is machine learning and all this type of stuff.
For sure.
Right?
We do it ourselves, for sure.
Yeah. And so it's like whoever starts to use the technology more and more.
Only if human is above. It's the only thing, if that stays above. If all of a sudden, look what happened right now, birth rate in America, 1.58. You know, last year we only had 3.6 million babies born in America. Do you know how many babies we had born in America in 1940? 3.6 million. But we did it with 150 million people.
Yeah.
And we only did 3.6 million with 340 million people. Do you know America, 3 times we went on a run of 4 million plus babies every year. Once we did it 5 years. Once we did it 7 years. Once we did it 11 years. The most babies we ever made in a year is what? 4.3 million babies. So then you go through a list of why we're not making babies anymore, right? Okay. So one is, I think it's called Envion, the introduction of, what do you call it, birth control pills. I think the year is 1960. That it was FDA approved, and it was only available to married women in certain states. Now it's everywhere, right? Then you have Roe v. Wade, which abortion, 65 million kids we've killed the last 50, 60-something years, right? That's the real Holocaust that some people talk about. Then you have in 1957, which was the highest birth rate we ever had in America, that's documented, 3.77 That year, women were in the workforce 35% of the time. Today, women are in the workforce 65 to 70% of the time. Very different. You know, that whole dual income, we want both to go to work. So when you look at the stats, you're like, yeah, let's get women working as well. This is going to be great. We have double the workforce. Birth rate dropped. What else? You know, people were having kids at 22, 23 years old. Now they're having kids at 30 years old, 32 years old, 34 years old. So some of the movements that we adjusted, we took a different kind of a hit. So the only thing for me is like my thoughts when it comes down to stuff like this, we have to be very careful that we don't over-edify AI to human. And if it goes that way, you will be a slave to AI in no time. It will own you in no time.
If you think about this, right? So like one of the core principles that I usually revert to when I'm making kind of evaluations of this stuff is, does it hurt somebody else? Right? If it hurts somebody else, then
Not yet though.
Well, but there's things
you make that, but other people don't.
No, of course. But like if you think of this phone, right? And you say to yourself, okay, somebody making that phone is saying, oh, you can connect with your family, you can learn information, you can do all this stuff. Well, there's a bunch of studies that show scrolling social media is incredibly bad, not only for your focus, for, you know, your energy levels, but also just your mental health and kind of all this stuff. And so it's, as a society, how do we make a trade-off between, is social media regulated to a certain degree or not? You know, how should we think about this?
It should be for kids.
You can't. But
So that's the thing, is then is age demographic.
You
Right?
can't do that. You can't do that though, because if you and all the ethical people like you make the same decision, then who will be left to run the AI arms race? It'll be the psychopath.
No, what I'm saying though is just like, I think as a society, it's not just AI. It's like there's a bunch of these technology things we're trying to figure out, right? So like self-driving cars is another one. We have verifiable, objective data. Self-driving cars are much safer than a human driver. There are a mass amount of people who are fighting against this, saying we should not have self-driving cars on the street.
It's a Dunning-Kruger effect. Everybody thinks they're above average drivers. And
so you want to know what I do at dinners now? Whenever I host dinners, is we had a big conference last week, and I had a dinner. And there's about probably 25 people or so, and I said, in this room, how many of you guys use AI on a daily basis? This is, you know, kind of business crowd. Everyone raised their hand. I said, great. How many of you think that your job is going to get replaced by AI in the next 5 years? Not one person raised their hand.
Yeah.
I said, well, listen, by the odds, you know, some of you ain't going to be here in 5 years. It's just nobody thinks it's them.
Yeah. No, I get that. We have our annual Sales Leadership Summit that is coming up. This year we're doing it at the Trump Doral. I went to the property the other day. Unbelievably beautiful property. And if you're a sales person or a sales leader or a CEO that wants to drive sales and find superstars and develop superstars, Rob, play that clip that you have. I think Alicia sent it to you. Go right ahead, buddy.
I got a question for you. Which of these two skill sets guarantees success more? You being able to recruit rock stars, 8s and 9s, coming in talented and they change the company overnight. Or two, you knowing how to develop rock stars. Which of these two guarantees success? From my experience, when I was not a rock star and I got lucky and I recruited a rock star, I could never keep the rock star. Eventually, I obsessed over developing people to succeed in sales. Once I did that, all the rock stars started knocking on the doors because they wanted to work with me. This is why once a year I host an event called the Sales Leadership Summit. This year we're doing it March 25th through the 27th at Trump Doral. If you want to find out how you and your team can attend this event to learn how to become better sales leaders, click on a link below, fill out your information. One of our consultants will get a hold of you.
There you go, Rob. That's the QR code, and we're going to put the link below. Rob, if you can put the link below as well for people to go learn more about it and fill out the information. One of our representatives will call you and answer any questions you may have about the event, and hopefully we'll see you there March 25th to the 27th at the Trump Doral. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.